Pro bodybuilder contest prep cycle. This is a good one. Please, by no means, this is not a recommendation. This is not what I'm saying you should do for your local show. You'd be an idiot if you're doing that. Most pro bodybuilders are taking some serious chances. This is a lot of gear. Contest prep time is really sort of known as the throw the kitchen sink at it and see what happens time in bodybuilding. I'm of the belief that you could probably get away with a lot less than what these guys are doing, but this is just kind of what I hear that dudes are doing now, from various sources. So this is by no means the gospel. Before we get into this, please take the time to like my video and subscribe to my channel. I got a lot of people watching my videos, but not that many people subscribing to the channel. The YouTube gods like it when you actually subscribe. It helps the algorithm out and places me higher in searches and gets more watches, and thus motivates me to make more videos. So let's get into it. Contest prep cycle. Typically, you'll hear most pros will do anywhere between a 12 and a 16-week contest prep. You'd have to be in pretty good shape to do 12, but 16 seems to be the most common. If you're doing a 16-week contest prep, usually what guys will do is just run their off-season gear at 16 weeks and start doing cardio and tightening up their diet. Somewhere around 10 to 12 weeks out is the common time when people start throwing in the contest prep gear. As far as anabolics, what we see around the 10 to 12 week time out, 500 to 1,000 milligrams of test is pretty common. A lot of times what I'll see is guys start off at a higher dose of test and they decrease it as they add other compounds. 300 to 700 milligrams of either Primobolan or Equipoise. If you can get real Primo and you can afford it, Primo's probably preferable. 300 to 700 milligrams of Masteron. Around 6 to 8 weeks out, you're going to add, pro bodybuilders usually add 300 to 700 milligrams of Trim Ace. I don't know who can tolerate 700 milligrams of Tren. I know I can. 300 is about my limit. I went up to 600 one time, and I literally thought I was going to die. It was like I had the flu, had a fever, headache, felt like absolute dog shit. So if you can take 700 milligrams of Tren, rock on. I am not that guy. Around 6 to 8 weeks out, usually you guys will add something around 50 to 100 milligrams of Proviron each day. 6 to 8 weeks out, 50 milligrams of Vanavar each day. And 2 to 4 weeks out, there will be some sort of hardener added in. Typically Winstraw or Halo, around the 50 milligram mark. I see a lot of guys that now have dropped Winstraw and are using Halo instead. I will say this, once you exceed 50 milligrams of total orals in a day, you need some stuff to help with liver health, or you're going to have crazy shitty liver enzyme issues. They're going to get really, really high and you're going to feel sick. That's been my experience. Growth hormone, the rule of thumb with growth hormone I've always heard on contest prep is as much as you can afford. Typically, dudes are taking somewhere in the 6 to 10 units of GH every day. I recently heard that Nick Walker does 12 units of pharmaceutical GH, but I don't know who the hell can afford that. Probably Nick Walker. Anti-estrogens, this is another one. I think guys, often I hear of guys overdoing the anti-estrogens. They're taking multiple aromatase inhibitors at once, which is just a really, 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 really dumb idea. You should not be taking multiple aromatase inhibitors at once. You don't need it. I mean, there's only so far you can crush your estrogen. So taking Arimidex and Letrozole together is really providing you no additional benefit other than, causing a detriment to your health. So pick one or the other. Letrozole is sort of the nuclear bomb of estrogen management, but it does harden you up. It makes you feel like shit, but it does harden you up. I will say that. Usually it's escalating into the show with the last 2 weeks being at maximum dose. Tamoxifen, sometimes people will add tamoxifen in if you have issues with breast tissue, maybe a little bit of gyno or just some fat around your pecs. The tamoxifen can help harden that up if you need it. If you don't, then don't use it. Some guys use insulin on their high carb days or their reload days, whatever you want to call it. You're extra insulin sensitive during contest prep, so you might not need it unless you're taking a shitload of growth hormone. Fat burners, usually you hear the typical ephedrine, caffeine, yohimbine stack is what guys use, escalating as they get closer to the show. Clenbuterol is an old standby, 100 to a maximum of 200 micrograms of clen. 100 is usually plenty. I don't know. I mean, 200 is insane, I think, but I've heard of dudes taking it. And some T3, maybe some T4, but T3 usually anywhere from 20 to 100 micrograms of T3 for guys. For diuretics, you don't need them if you're in shape. If you're peeled going into the show, you shouldn't need diuretics. There's just no need for them. I will say that anabolics, the injectable anabolics, are usually dropped about a week out from the show. Growth hormone usually 3 to 5 days out from the show. This helps with water retention. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what you see for a contest prep cycle. Typical high-level amateur pro bodybuilder cycle. It's somewhere between 2 and 3.5 grams of gear. A lot of times the doses are escalating as you go, but that's typical pro cycle, contest prep cycle. That's all I have on this. Please take the time to like my video, subscribe, as I mentioned before. If you want to know what's going on with me personally, you can follow me on Instagram at Paul K. Barnett. And I really appreciate watching my videos. Thanks.